Uh-oh, what's hang on, what is going on? Something is going on right now. Okay, are we back? Are we back? Are we back? All right. We are back. Awesome. So, you know what I'm saying? This is going to be a regular, schmegular, extra eggular stream. So what we're gonna do today, we're just gonna draw some backgrounds. Just some backgrounds. Ooh, that's real bright. All right, yes, but we're here chilling. If you want to pull up, pull up. Oh well. Whoops. All right. So we're just gonna listen to some smooth jazz. And we're just gonna animate. We're just gonna draw this background. You know. You know. This mic picks up everything. You know what I'm saying? This mic picks up everything. Yeah. Um. I don't know, bro. Can I get vulnerable, chat? Can I get vulnerable? You know? Is anybody in the Discord? I'm not home right now. Alright. All right. So I guess in the meantime, I'm thinking about we react to some videos. Yeah, you know what? Let's react to some videos. Let's react. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think does YouTube like notify you guys. I don't think YouTube notifies you. All right, we're gonna watch this video right here. All right, SummerSlam was a missed classic. Oh, maybe that's why you guys can't hear the audio. That's why you can't hear the audio. There we go. There's the audio. Alrighty.
Felt like something was missing. The matches on here ranked from okay to good, with nothing in the classic or spectacular category. There was no big return to bump up the show. It was a show that had ebbs and flows, and to me, lacked that next gear that a Big Four show needs. I feel like I'm in the minority with this because I've seen a lot of people's opinions online, and the word masterclass and perfect is attached to it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This show underwhelmed me and probably was one of the weaker shows of the year. I can't in good faith say that it was bad because it wasn't bad, but I don't think it lived up to the hype and potential that it had on paper. The event kicked off with Logan Paul and Ricochet, and this was heavily built on going viral and having a viral moment within the match, but we didn't get it. I feel as though we put large expectations on this match from the hop because essentially the majority of us thought that this was going to be a spot fest with at least one larger than life highlight reel moment that was going to be replayed until the end of time, but it wasn't. Nonetheless, it was a really strong and fun match that picked up the longer it went. What I really liked about this match was it made sense. Rather than Logan Paul and Ricochet just doing spots, it was a more traditional match with a defined heel and face dynamic while still incorporating cool spots inside the match.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest Logan Paul fan, but his match with Ricochet was actually pretty good. Like, I'd be a hater. I mean, I am a kind of hater, but like Ricochet's match. I mean, Ricochet always puts on classics and bangers. I hope my fan isn't. You know what I'm saying? I hope my fan isn't. Hey, let's take this off and let's see how it sounds. You can definitely still hear my fan, but like, it's just too hot, bro. It's just too hot. You know, but you know. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta lock in for real. But back to the video.
Instead of an 8 to 9 minute sprint, we got an 18-minute marathon. Paul was taunting Samantha Irvin, trolling Ricochet by hitting the running power slam like Braun Strowman. Cool spots in this match, from Spanish flies to buckshot lariats, hurricane neck breaker from the top rope, and a ridiculous DDT counter. It was an athletic display from two super athletic guys. The finish came when Paul was handed brass knuckles, and that was it. Michael Cole said it best: a great matchup, but the ending sucked. I thought this was a really good opening match, but I was waiting for that viral moment. Didn't get it. Nonetheless, a strong open to this show. show. The next match on this card was my favorite match from this event, and that was Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. I know, what the heck did I just say? I love the story that they told in this match. Early on, Cody goes right after Brock, but
Bro, Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes is such like, I don't even like understand. You know what I'm saying? Bro, that match was like, it was like hard to keep up with. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to keep up with. Yeah, that Cody Rhodes match was, it was an odd one.
gets met with suplexes, and the story is Cody is trying to climb this mountain and take down this mammoth somehow, some way, but he just isn't a match for him. Every turn it was Cody trying to avoid Brock's offense. They brawl to the outside where Cody gets Brocked in front of his mom. Brock sends Cody to the outside and tries to take a count out win. Cody comes in at 6, and this becomes a constant in this match with Brock telling Cody to save himself. Brock dumps Cody out for a 4th time. Cody comes back in. Cody then gets hit with an F5 on the floor, but gets back in at 9. F5 through the table, and somehow, some way, Cody is up again. They then go to the outside. Cody just shoves Brock into the ring post to try to get his stamina bar down as he's taking out the final boss. And then he hits him with steel steps, which I'm pretty sure is a DQ. Disaster kick followed by a Cody cutter, followed by a top rope Cody cutter. This sequence was awesome, no pun intended. So much adrenaline inside Ford Field. Both of them fight out of a Kimura lock, 3 straight crossroads, and that's all she wrote. Really fun match, and the best match that these two have had in their trilogy. I actually didn't mind any of them. Some people really didn't like them. I thought each of them was something different, and they weren't really that bad. And again, what I liked about this was paced out differently. Essentially, it was Brock telling Cody to stay down and quit, or else he's gonna have mercy on Cody, but Cody just didn't quit. One of the things that wasn't clearly defined was why these two were beefing, but after the match you could kind of make it out. These two shook hands and it was kind of like a you're ready sort of deal. Like, yeah, you're cut out for this, you passed the test. This felt decisive and conclusive. So Cody's now been endorsed by Cena and Brock at this point. This moment was unplanned, as we later found out. Not a classic by any means. Nothing on this show was, in my opinion, but solid and entertaining. The Slim Jim Battle Royal was alright. It was solely here for LA Knight. It's a Battle Royal. If you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all. And I gotta say, ever since I got to Detroit at the airport, the amount of yas I heard, the amount of LA Knight shirts I saw, little kids on the street saying yeah or let me talk to ya. This guy is a money printing machine. They gotta strap the rocket to him because he is awesome.
I love LA Knight.
The LA Knight pop was nuclear. We got an Omos return. I am not an Homo sapien. I did not rise. It's your standard battle royal. Of course, Omos has the entire field comes to take out the tall guy spot. There's a rolling stunner into a skull crushing finale on Chad Gable by The Miz and Waller. Looked really cool. The final two were Sheamus and LA Knight. LA Knight wins it. This man has all the tools. They cannot miss with him. The next thing was a miss, though, and that was the MMA rules match between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey.
Bro,
it's hard to get a worked MMA fight to work. I thought that these two were going to execute. The thing with these is it's got to look good and also have the audience into it. It's got to be fast-paced and look brutal, and it didn't do either of that. The crowd was breaking out into boring chants. People were leaving to go get food and go to the bathroom, and this match killed the momentum of the crowd. They were hot for the first 3 matches, and nobody cared here. If they would have came into this with heavy hits and big reversals, it would have been faster and maybe it would have worked. By the time they got going, they lost the crowd, and it's now reported that these two had issues with creative over the specifics of this match. Shayna won, and this was a huge low point on the show. I had higher expectations because of how they built this thing up. What they were trying to do just didn't land with the audience. They want to see slams, they want to see wrestling, they want to see big moments, especially the WWE audience. They want all the bells and whistles. Maybe the fight pit would have worked better. This definitely knocks the show down a few points in my opinion, and I feel as though this was a front-loaded show with the back half not delivering as much. Next up was one that I think a lot of us had very high expectations of. Two big meaty men slapping meat, Drew McIntyre and Gunther.
Hey,
The crowd still hadn't.
hey, if you're just pulling onto the stream, say what's up in the chat. Say what's up in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you for pulling up. You sexy, beautiful person. You are beautiful. Say what's up in the chat. All right, you don't want to say hello? All right, no problem. Just watch the stream and
Recovered in this match, and by the time they did, the match was over. It was hard hitting, it was brutal, it was probably 80 to 85% of what I expected from these two. I expected a little bit more, and I feel like it didn't get into that next gear of violence and brutality that this match needed. The show needed that one match that was a show stealer and really brought it to that next level, and this could have been that match, but I don't think it was. Again, by no means was it bad. It was good. You could even argue that it was great, but it needed 3 to 5 more minutes. It needed that next gear that Drew and Gunther can certainly get to. It was building to that, but by that time it was over. What we got next was what I think was objectively the match of the
Gunther and Drew McIntyre's match was fire. Two big meaty men slapping meat. You know what I'm saying?
the night because of the near falls and because of the shenanigans. 7 years in the making, Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Finn comes out with the word 7 on his shoulder to represent the 7-year itch that he just can't scratch. And then the King of Trolling comes out wearing his vest from 2016. I can't be the only one that wishes he wore the rest of the gear too. Match starts off with a brawl between these two, back and forth and back and forth. Balor just works on Rollins' arm for the first bit of the match. Rollins then goes for 3 straight suicide dives to the outside. We get a callback to their last SummerSlam match where Balor gets to revenge, hitting the same powerbomb to the outside into the barricade. Great counters in this match. It was fast, which I really liked. There's some really good sequences. Finn kicks out of a pedigree. Out comes Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. Rollins then kicks out of a pedigree after an argument with Priest. Balor gets hit with a stomp but kicks out. Coup de grace, no. Priest leaves the Money in the Bank in the ring, stomp onto it, Rollins retains. Was it a flat finish? Not really. I thought it was fun and gave you the shenanigans that makes things, well, fun. I do think that Finn Balor winning here would have made sense. They're teasing the slow descension in the Judgment Day. Good match. These two worked well together. Next was something that theoretically should have worked well, and that was the women's triple threat match between Asuka, Bianca Belair, and Charlotte Flair. This one, I describe it as them trying to do things but the crowd not feeling what they were doing. There were some sloppy points in this match which just felt weird. I also gotta say that WWE's got this thing where they just mask a mediocre women's build with a good or great match. I feel like that's not being called out enough. Charlotte was late to some spots, so the other two were just kind of hanging there for Charlotte to hit her cue. There was some strong action early on with the multi-woman spots. There's also some parts that look really clunky and not as smooth as they should. By no means the epic that it could and probably should have been. I gotta give props to Bianca Belair though. She got thrown over the top rope and was selling her right knee, screaming in pain. She had everyone fooled because the doctors came out and were attending to her. It looked like a real injury. She then comes back in, 450, does nothing. Bianca then sells her left knee, survives 20 seconds in the figure 4/8. Bianca rolls up Asuka and wins the WWE Women's Championship, only to go on to have one of the shortest women's title reigns in the championship's history, because out comes Io Sky to cash in the Money in the Bank, and this was such a feel-good moment.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The Io Sky cash in. Bro, that came so out of left field. I didn't even know Io Sky had the Money in the Bank. I mean, I did know, because, like, I watched Money in the Bank, but, like, I didn't remember. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, chat?
1 year later, after her debut on the main roster, here she was, the new WWE Women's Champion. Michael Cole was in his bag with this call, saying from the world of stardom to the top of the world. Was this expected? Yeah, great moment nonetheless. I didn't dig this match so much. Again, it was alright, nothing spectacular. When I got home, I watched it back. I bumped it up a little bit because they were really trying. It's not their fault that the crowd just wasn't into it. And here we were. Now it was time for Tribal Combat. Both.
Alright. The Tribal Combat match. Let me give you my interpretation for the Tribal Combat match. Right? Bro, this match, I saw this thing on like TikTok where it was like, this match is just every Roman Reigns match plus some tables. And that's a fact, you know what I'm saying?
The undisputed WWE Universal title and the title for Tribal Chief on the line. I said in the last video that one thing I felt like this needed was exploring Jay's story a little bit more. It was
hard pivot to a piece of tech that I've been using actually for a while. So you might have heard of 8 Sleep. They're kind of blowing up recently.
Mentioned here and there, and we got a little bit of a reference to it on SmackDown, but never really the spill your heart out kind of segment that I feel like it needed. Nonetheless, this came about after Jay pinned Roman at Money in the Bank and then wanted to take on Roman after Roman and Solo took out Jimmy Uso. Y'all may not like this, but I thought this was a weak main event. This main event was slow, very few big spots, lots of pre-match fluff, especially since it went 36 minutes. I feel like they didn't pack enough into it. Lesnar and Reigns last year, though it was a different stipulation, did more in 23 minutes. This could have had some time shaved off of it. Also, Tribal Combat just felt like an average no DQ match. It wasn't anything different.
Facts.
If you watch this channel and have been for a period of time,
thinking like Rikishi or the Wild Samoans about to pop out at ringside, bro. It was just a regular no DQ match. You know what I'm saying? It was just a regular no DQ match. It was pretty mid, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think you guys know me well enough that I don't just come on here and say crap for the sake of saying it to get a reaction out of you guys.
I'll be coming.
Guys, when I enjoy something, I tell you guys, but here I gotta be honest, I did not feel this main event. Even when I got home from the show, I rewatched it and I really tried to like it. It didn't hit. The match wasn't the worst thing ever, I'm not saying that, but it wasn't great.
Bro,
I just felt like it was dull. Both guys have points in this match where they just go after each other with kendo sticks. Jay creates this pool of steel chairs which Roman power bombs him into. Roman gets Samoan dropped onto the table from the apron. We get a great callback with Jay bringing back the leather strap. They brawl into the crowd when Solo arrives. I thought that family couldn't interfere. The spike spear combo to Jay.
Fact, and that was really weird. If this is a Tribal Combat, I don't know if I'm clipping. If this is a Tribal Combat match, why is Solo and Jimmy getting involved? This is a Tribal Combat match. You know what I'm saying? This is a Tribal Combat match. You know, why is... You know what I'm saying? Why are they getting involved? It was just weird.
Goes wrong when Solo gets pulled in the way of the spear, so this sets in motion Solo's eventual turn on Roman. Jay puts Solo through the announce table with a splash. Eventually, as Jay is possibly about to win, Jimmy returns, pulls him out of the ring, super kick to Jay. Jimmy betrays his brother, spear through a table, and that was your finish. Not for a second did I think that Jay was going to win this. The suspension of disbelief just wasn't there. The talking point was, of course, the turn from Jimmy, so let's talk about it. So initially when this happened, I was of the crowd that this makes no sense, that this was a swerve done for the sake of a swerve, and I still do maintain the second half of that opinion, that it feels like they're just trying to do stuff so that they can squeeze out every bit of the Bloodline story. I do think that people will come around and start watching again, because every time we doubt these guys, they somehow continue to make it better. However, they have planted the seeds to this turn on WWE TV. At the end of the day,
This match was just mid. SummerSlam in general was just mid. I'm sorry. There was no returns. I guess the Io Sky cash-in was cool. I guess. I guess. Yeah, bro. It was just. It was. Bro, I rate SummerSlam 6.5 out of 10.
The Usos have done everything as a tag team. I guess it's time for them to tell their story. It'll be a classic story of jealousy, or you're only good when I'm here, or you went for the title instead of caring about me sort of deal. I'm going to give that story a chance before I judge it, because if it has actual motives and actual reasoning, then okay. But I do feel like it was backwards in some respect. They're just there to milk the turn and have Jimmy and Jay do their story for the next couple months. But they really got to be careful with this. They can't just keep adding unnecessary and sometimes illogical chapters to the story that this story just could have done without. Bloodline fatigue is a very real thing that's happening, and I felt it after the show. I still understand that this is going to do well. It'll have people hooked. It does have the potential. I mean, the promo package alone is going to be something special. Will these two make it worthwhile? Hopefully.
Bro, if the Jimmy and Jay storyline is gonna be something like the Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy storyline, bro, oh my goodness. It's you know. Bro, but
it's still going to do good ratings. At the end of the day, it gives you something to talk about. And while I understand that, doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it. We're allowed to like and dislike parts of the story, and this one I'm not really feeling. One thing I do feel is, though, when Roman loses the titles, there's a great story to tell of him handing over the lei. The way he told Jay, if you win this, I hand this to you. If it ends up being Solo, that would be a great way to create a new star down the line. As for Tribal Combat, it was a miss for me. I don't remember much aside from the table spot and the turn. Even the crowd at Ford Field was just like, oh, that's it. The pacing of this show was odd. There's points where they could have shaved some time off and given it to other matches, or maybe cut some matches completely. Overall, this show was very standard, nothing too special if I'm being honest. Like the title says, it was a missed classic. Why? Because I feel like some matches just didn't deliver to their billing.
yeah, bro, this main event was just mid,
And something just felt missing. I still can't put my finger on it. Drew versus Gunther was close to being an all-time classic. Both women's matches were misses to me. The main event was middling, and again, it just kind of felt like it happened. The show wasn't bad, but it didn't feel like the number 2 show of the year. The crowd was objectively just dead at points. I don't know, man. Maybe the moments were just missing. Maybe I'm being too harsh on it, but I'm not going to say it was great or fantastic just because everyone else is saying it. I thought it was a middling pay-per-view with nothing spectacular or nothing that I'm going to ever rewatch for my own enjoyment. But on paper, the show just should have been better.
Yeah, man. SummerSlam was pretty.
We'll agree to disagree if that's.
SummerSlam was pretty mid. I can't lie to you. Why? Okay. Why creative people procrastinate? Huh. That looked just like me for real.
There's no way I'd ever switch.
Before the Empire ruled the galaxy,
Watch this video. Why creative people
was born.
procrastinate?
From the creators of Rogue One comes the...
Do you have a creative problem?
I am a chronic procrastinator. I procrastinate on these videos. On the videos I make you, yeah, I procrastinate on that. I'm trying not to procrastinate anymore. So, let's just see what this video is about.
Project, like say a short film that you Do you have a creative project, like say a short film, that you've been tossing around for way too long and you always find yourself just talking about making it, but then when it's time to actually sit down and work on it, something else just seems to come up, and the next thing you know, a week, a month, a year's gone by, you still haven't made any progress on the project? Well, if that sounds like you, then this is probably going to be the most useful video I could ever make for you, because for a while that was me too. And in this video, I'm going to discuss the mindset shifts that broke my chronic spell of procrastination. Then I'm going to tell you the easiest, most actionable way to just get yourself back on track, the thing that I do every day to stay focused and in that creative zone. First thing is a reality check. When we're in that procrastination state, we always have an excuse for why we're not working on a film or whatever project at any given moment. We're too busy with work, we're waiting for the perfect idea. Oh, I need this camera, I need that collaborator before I can even start working on this. The list just goes on. And these may be completely valid excuses, but before we can get out of this state of procrastination, we do have to acknowledge that they are still excuses, because highly productive filmmakers, they have limitations of their own, but they look for excuses in the opposite direction. They find excuses in other areas of their lives to go to work on their films. The main reason that we indulge in excuses to procrastinate is fear, specifically fear of failure and fear of vulnerability. And to be honest, you should be afraid. Making a film or any kind of creative project is a ton of work, and then, what if it sucks? What if you can't even finish it? You'll have wasted a ton of time, money, and energy on something. And not only that, this is going to be a public failure. And the fear of looking like a fool to others is a massive driver of our subconscious and conscious decision making.
I understood the joke. Thank you.
Of course. There's a reason that public speaking is always rated as like the #1 fear of people, right? Don't want to look like a fool in front of everybody you know. Fortunately, there's an easy solution to the fear of failure, which is just scale down your project. Make something small enough that the fear of failing is manageable. You shouldn't be selling your house to make a feature film when you've never made a short before, So for example, my first short films, I made them by myself, I edited them in iMovie, and the star actor was my dog. Small project. If I fail, not a big deal. And ideally, each new project you do pushes you out of your comfort zone enough to grow as a filmmaker, but not enough to just paralyze you with fear and start that procrastination cycle. And then there's the fear of vulnerability. Any film you make is gonna say something about you, the filmmaker, even if it's like a zombie apocalypse movie, there's gonna be some of you just ingrained in it. And it can be actually really scary to put yourself out there to the world like that. But think about what Martin Scorsese says, the most personal films are the most creative. And I think the beauty of storytelling is letting other people know that someone like you exists, somebody who thinks like you, feels like you, reacts to situations like you, and maybe there are other people like you who will be comforted and encouraged knowing that they're not alone. The more that you try to hide your true self from your films, know that the more bland your movie's probably going to be. So give the people what they want, you. And fun fact, I procrastinated on making this video about procrastination. I actually spent a lot of hours writing it out like over a year ago, but I kept putting off filming it because I was afraid, it's not relevant enough to this channel, it's not entertaining enough, it's gonna make me feel like some kind of wannabe self-help guru. I felt vulnerable even telling people that this was an area that I was struggling with. And then a couple weeks ago, I found this video script in my notes app and read through it and realized, this is actually a really good script, and I've actually just done exactly the thing that this video is supposed to help you avoid doing because of the reasons this video lays out. I was afraid of doing this, so I said, okay, this is accurate, I'm going to have to go film this video. After the fear, the second horseman of the procrastination apocalypse is overwhelm. And in the beginning of any creative endeavor, it's incredibly easy to become overwhelmed by the big picture. There's just simply so much to do, much of which you don't even know.
What's up, name? You want me to watch how to make an egg casserole? By How To Basic. Okay. Sure. Whatever you want. I'd make an egg casserole by, you said How To Basic? That's a weird request. But I'm not seeing by How To Basic. Unless you want to drop the link in the chat. You know, but I don't see by how to basic. That's interesting though. Out of all the things you want you want me to watch, you want me to learn how to make an egg casserole.
Do you have a creative paralyze you with fear and start that procrastination cycle? And then there's the fear of vulnerability. Any film you make is going to say something about you, the filmmaker. Even if it's like a zombie apocalypse movie, there's going to be some of you just ingrained in it. And it can be actually really scary to put yourself out there to the world like that. But think about what Martin Scorsese says, you know, the most personal films are the most creative. And I think the beauty of storytelling is letting other people know that someone like you exists, somebody who thinks like you, feels like you, reacts to situations like you, and maybe there are other people like you who will be comforted and encouraged knowing that they're not alone. The more that you try to hide your true self from your films, know that the more bland your movie's probably going to be. So give the people what they want, you. And fun fact, I procrastinated on making this video about procrastination. I actually spent a lot of hours writing it out like over a year ago, but I kept putting off filming it because I was afraid, oh, it's not relevant enough to this channel. It's not entertaining enough. It's going to make me feel like some kind of wannabe self-help guru. You know, I felt vulnerable even telling people that this was an area that I was struggling with. And then a couple of weeks ago, I found this video script in my notes app and read through it and realized, oh, this is actually a really good script. And I've actually just done exactly the thing that this video is supposed to help you avoid doing because of the reasons this video lays out. I was afraid of doing this. So I said, okay, this is accurate. I'm going to have to go film this video. After the fear, the second horseman of the procrastination apocalypse is overwhelm. And in the beginning of any creative endeavor, it's incredibly easy to become overwhelmed by the big picture. There's just simply so much to do, much of which you don't even know how to do. So your focus turns to the difficulty of each and every problem and barrier that's in the way to making your...
Bro, when you're making videos, bro, it could get so overwhelming when you make videos, because it's like damn, you want to make everything perfect, and especially if you're doing like big projects, like especially in animation, it's like, bro, it can get a little draining. It can get a little draining, bro. You know? But that's okay though, cause like I do the animations. I do it for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I do cause like I love to animate. But like sometimes like I can't even cap. Like it's a lot, you know? Sometimes it could be a lot. So whenever there's like a video I'm doing, I do my best to like just tackle it like one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to tackle it one day at a time. Damn, ain't nobody in the Discord? Damn. Yeah, man. So it's like, yeah, bro. But yeah. All right, back to the video.
Your film or whatever project. How am I gonna write this thing out? How am I gonna cast all these actors? How do I do the paperwork? The location is impossible to find. I suck at editing. I don't know how to do VFX. How am I gonna get anybody to watch it? It just goes on and on and on. All these problems that you're thinking about related to your project. And then what happens? You get filled with dread. You get exhausted at the mere thought of working on your film, because now in your mind, the film itself has become an overwhelming web of problems that you'll never be able to untangle and solve. So whenever you get some free time to work on it, you don't think of an exciting exciting project you get to have fun with, you think of a giant web of problems and you just huff in apathy and forget about it. You know, your brain pushes you towards something easy that it knows it can handle or get some dopamine reward from, instead of this gigantic, impossible, anxiety-inducing problem. And if you want to overcome that overwhelm, you have to change the negative association in your mind that your film equals a huge mess of problems. And to do that, you literally have to write out on a notepad every problem and unanswered question you have about your film. Part of the overwhelm is just the sheer disorganization of your thoughts when you think about your film, and the worry that you'll forget one of these problems that are bouncing around in your head, which just gives you this low-level stress about the project at all times. But by writing them down, you clearly identify each problem, you clear out your headspace, you can start organizing the mess and reduce that anxiety, and you'll probably find that about a third of the problems that you identify are not that big of a deal or very easily solved and figured out. I suck at editing. I can find somebody to edit for me, or I can spend a few days watching YouTube videos and get the gist of it. Other problems are probably going to be combinations of multiple problems that can be broken down and simplified, and you may still have a lot of things on your list that you just have no idea how to deal with, but by clearly identifying the things about your film that overwhelm you, you have taken much of the power away from that overwhelming feeling, and instead of thinking about your film as a tangled mess of problems, you can start looking at it as just a piece of paper with a series of problems that you can go down line by line, and once you've checked all of them off, you'll have a finished short film. And that to me is much, much less intimidating and much less overwhelming. The third and final mental barrier is result-oriented thinking. And a lot of times I used to procrastinate on a project, or even worse, tank a whole project by focusing my thoughts on the end of the race instead of taking it step by step. So if your goal is to be a famous filmmaker, or get into Sundance, or get rich, it's ironically going to be very hard to do that if that's the main thing that you're focusing on.
Yeah, man, a lot of people do YouTube to get like rich, or like, you know, I do YouTube because I enjoy it. You know, I do it because it's fun. I can close this. Yeah, I do it because it's fun, and I really. Alrighty. Yeah, a lot of people do YouTube for money. I do it because it's fun. And you know what I'm saying? That's like the best mindset you can have about it. I do it because it's fun. And I like drawing pictures. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man.
Those thoughts lead to procrastination because the simple day-to-day process of making films seems so menial and small in comparison that it feels like you're just making a pointless drop in the bucket towards getting you to this lofty goal if that's what you're focused on. But nobody completes a marathon by making a handful of 5-mile-long strides. They reach the finish line only by accumulating thousands of tiny steps, one after the other. Instead of focusing on the finish line, you have to kind of keep your head down and find the joy and the fun in each individual step, right? The day-to-day process of making films. And if you're writing, maybe that's just finding a clever line of dialogue. If you're shot listing your shoot, it's the fun of visualizing how this scene would feel if a certain shot is done in a close-up versus a wide. It's the process. This is what you have to focus on, these tiny little moments and the problems and tasks that are right in front of you on any given day. And once you can find the joy in the process of making a film, the pressure of the result completely fades away. And when that weight is lifted, it's much, much harder to procrastinate. And I think the tedious moments and the defeats in filmmaking and writing, all that stuff, are still fun if you let them be, because they test us. And the highs wouldn't be high if everything was easy and exciting. And every low that you hit is setting the stage for the next high. So it's a fun way to reframe things in your mind and get more excited about the day-to-day process of making films, which is 99.99% of your experience as a filmmaker. Struggling with a lack of motivation? Video projects too daunting to finish. Editing timelines, collecting tech savvy users. Sign up to But what can you start doing today to remedy your procrastination for good? Well, it's a very simple concept that I always tell myself when I'm at my most down and most unmotivated. No 0 days. And this is something I stole from an awesome Reddit post that I'll link to in the description. But the idea is to get out of a funk and to keep your momentum moving. You just cannot have any 0 days.
And that's a fact, bro. That is a total fact. Because, like, bro, if you're striving on YouTube for something, bro, like, you gotta put in that grind, bro. It is a grind. Like, I'm streaming right now, and there be times where it's like, damn, I don't even. There be times where I just don't even want to hop on, hop on an anime, but like I gotta get on. Excuse me. I gotta get on my Zoom. Wow, this is yeah, man. This is yeah, man.
And what is a 0 day? A 0 day is when you don't do a single thing towards making your film or accomplishing whatever you're trying to accomplish. So say it's 11:58 p.m. You haven't done anything for your film all day. You got 2 minutes. Open up a notebook, write 1 sentence of the script. Open up Google image search, find 1 reference image for a lookbook. Send 1 email or 1 text to a person you want to collaborate with on it. It can take 1 minute, but the point is you got something on the scoreboard for this goal of yours. You avoided a 0, and success is made out of a massive string of consistent non-zeros. So you keep it up, and finishing your film is inevitable. It's just a matter of when, not if. And doing that one small thing, it might feel like nothing, and if you're down on yourself procrastinating, you might even question, what's the point of doing this? What's 1 push-up gonna do if I wanna be Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Right? Wrong.
But you gotta think, if you're sailing across the ocean, say, and you change the angle of your rudder just 1 degree every day, you're gonna end up landing on a different continent. That's just how life works. And there's actually an excellent productivity book called Atomic Habits.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. That video was cool. I wasn't really too interested. Yeah, man. You know what we should watch? We should watch some flat Earth video. Should we watch some flat Earth videos? Man, whatever. Let's watch some flat Earth videos. Let's watch some flat Earth videos. What? You know what I'm saying? Just checking Discord. What was that channel? Founded Earth Brothers. There we go. They be taking this channel down. They be taking this channel down. But let's watch some Founded Earth Brothers. Let's see their most popular video. I've already, as you can see, I've already like watched so many of their videos. Mysterious footage near firmament and air. Let's watch this. You want to know why? Because the Earth is flat. I can't leave the stream up.
I came across some footage a little while ago that I wanted to share with everyone and get some feedback. I have no clue what I'm seeing, but it's rather impressive, and it's something I have never seen when looking at the sky. It's footage from Antarctica, and yes, there's a lot of secrets surrounding Antarctica since the Antarctic Treaty, and it is really keeping us from seeing the rest of creation and where the firmament meets the earth. And all of us are obsessed with the thought of actually being able to go there and break the Antarctic Treaty and explore that far. But there's some footage I came across today, and if you were in fact near the firmament and seeing the moon or the luminaries, chief stars, aka planets, they would look rather huge. And this footage that I came across today reveals just that. It is something very mysterious looking. It does not look exactly like the moon. It may be, but it's really huge. You're going to have to just see it to believe it. I'm going to let you guys watch it. Let me know what you think. I do believe this is very near where the firmament meets the earth. I could be wrong, but it's just really cool footage, and I want to share it before it gets deleted if it is in fact authentic. I have yet to see this. This may be something that was passed around a long time ago. I don't know, but this is the first time I'm seeing it, and I wanted to share it and get your feedback. So watch and let us know what you think.
Is that the moon or is it the firmament? Oh, I can't tell what that is. That looks like the moon. Dog, that looks like the moon. Yes. Okay. All right. I couldn't really tell what was going on, but let's look at this one. Why They Lie. Why They Lie by Founded Earth Brothers.
Hello everyone. You guys have been asking some great questions, and one of those is why on earth would people lie to us about the shape of the earth and how it moves and all of these things that seem insignificant. And the shape of our earth really is not that big of a lie. It's pretty well done. They've done a good job convincing us all that we live on a spinning ball. But that's not really why I'm here and made this channel in the first place. And I want to take you on the journey that I went down that answers the question why. It's very simple, it's very easy, and there's scripture to back that up, and we will go over all of that, so stay with us, and I will start out with what led me to this journey in the first place, and that is evolution. Because I taught evolution, I still am required to teach it as if it has been proven fact, not allowed to question it, and I saw all sorts of different proofs growing up, and they really shaped my mind. Not that I believed any of them after I, found truth, but these things, you've probably seen them, like these pictures of these embryos, and they were drawn over 100 years ago, and were admitted to be a hoax over 100 years ago. And they're still in textbooks today, and they show how similar we are to other organisms at early stages, because after all, we're all part of one big family tree, they say. But it's hoaxes like this that got my wheels turning as to what else are they lying about.
Bro, they lie.
And so I saw the evidence and the proof that it was a huge lie myself, because you can actually look at real pictures of these things now and realize they're not similar, but they're still on tests today. Okay, I've administered these tests. They're still on them. But then you have people like, look at the Java man here. Look at the hair on this guy. They put the hair of a black man and the skin color of a black man because these were white Freemason racist individuals wanting to make it look like black men were more related to these ape-man links than white people. Very racist. So I really find it hard to believe that there's so many people that are buying into this crap. But you know, to each their own. You can believe it. I'm not saying you're dumb for believing it. We've seen lots of evidence of it. But most of this evidence, like the Piltdown Man, was a Hollywood prop. It was a painted bone fragment with the teeth filed down to look more human-like. I mean, it's very, very sad, some of the things and the links they've gone to fool people for generations. The Piltdown Man was 40 years in a museum, you know? And here's the Nebraska Man, beautiful specimen of a man that was made from the tooth of a pig. That's all they had. And they made this Nebraska Man, and it was front page news, and everybody was impressed and oohing and awing. And then you had the Neanderthal, who all these paintings, you know, look at these bone structures. It was old people with rickets and different bone structures, but they're basically human DNA. They're no different than you and I, other than some abnormalities with rickets. And then you have the dino bird here, and this is still looked at as one of the links between dinosaurs and birds, because, you know, scales turn into feathers. That's just how it works with mutations. But it was a hoax, and admitted to be a hoax, and National Geographic's admitted that they were sorry for doing that. And then you have this fish here, the coelacanth, that I saw calligrams and many good pictures about, and it was a fish that learned to walk on land and eventually grew feet, arms, and legs and all that. Sadly, they still exist. I was lied to. My childhood was a lie. And then you hear we're 98% chimpanzee, almost 99%. And
Bro, so
it's
stupid, bro.
really good math. What's the math? They just cut out the parts that don't match right here, which happens to be 1.3 billion letters. And then guess what? Let's do some math here, people, and look at the remaining letters and say, oh wow, they're 98.77% match. Okay, that's not shady at all. You're just going to exclude this chunk here that we've cut out and this chunk here, and do some math, and then realize that really these evolutionists, or at least 3 out of 1 of them, are bad at fractions. They're horrible. So it's kind of sad, but that's the math that we're exposed to. And then you look at the first cell that appeared 3.8 billion years ago, even though we don't have the cell fossil to prove it. 3.8 billion years ago, and since then 5 billion species have occurred through macroevolution. Very slow process. That's still...
Bro, if they say, hold on, bro, if they say that we evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? You know what I'm saying? Why are there still monkeys? You know? Let me edit the title of this. Like you can't prove it, you know? You can't prove that flat earth isn't real. You know? But let's still look at some videos. Okay. Globe. Earth. Debunked. Let's look at that. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? All of the videos destroying flat earth without using science. Oh, okay. This one by the Seeker. Bro, look at all these videos. Oh, I kind of want to watch this. Here's what happens when students found out they launched it. Oh,
That's the one.
I actually want to watch this one. You know. All right, let's watch this. I'm very hungry.
On that stream, that's the moneymaker there.
Yeah.
So that one works. It should.
For the members of Lenore Ryan University's Solar Eclipse High Altitude Balloon Team,
My Terminator, we gotta make a hole for that.
1 year of work has come down to this moment.
Hey guys, I'm about to end stream early today. It's gonna be an early stream. Thank you for pulling up. I appreciate you all for pulling up. I got some business to handle. Thank you for pulling up. I love you all, and I'll catch you guys in a minute.